Okay, there's the dip that you told me about. Here, you'll see it better like this. See the dip? That dip. What that is completely rotted plywood. Plywood is completely rotten. It's garbage. Go right inside there. Okay? That's why all the nails are rotten. There's the space that the plywood sunk in beneath the flashing. That's why everything's going to get in underneath there. Okay? So, just because of the fact that the roofing was glued to the skylight, okay? The skylight at one time must have made a leak, and somebody glued all the shingles down. You can't move them. They're all glued to the flashing. You see the tar that they put here? You're not supposed to put any tar on a skylight at all. So, just the fact that they glued that to it, they killed the skylight. I can't reuse that flashing anymore. So the skylight absolutely needs to be replaced. They're only 20-year skylights anyway, so that's the good news, is that it's really, the time is up anyway on them. The series of skylight. Let's see which one you got. Okay, yeah, you got the metal chain in there. So this is a 90s skylight, so it's up anyway. Now, the rest of it, as far as the shingle goes, okay, remember you were telling me about the nails. There's all the nails that are rusted, right? Some of them aren't. See, that nail's fine. So it's not all the nails that are gone, but a lot of them, especially where there was an abundance of moisture. So now this is telling me that those nails were completely saturated. That's how they get like that. And it was saturated because all the water that's supposed to stay in that channel down the side got stuck in there, jumped the channel, soaked all the plywood, and pyramided down over here until it started disintegrating the shingles. You got nails that are right out in the open, and you got nails that are right out in the open and in the seam of the shingle. This is the worst place to put a nail, in the seam. You shouldn't have a nail for 6 inches underneath each one of them. Okay, this would have been my first nail in that shingle. So here's your vent pipe flange that's leaking. Okay, this is the only thing that keeps the water from going down the pipe, which is your plumbing. This is going through your wall. That's the bathroom. This is the bedroom. That's the closet. That leak is in that closet right there. That's because of this pipe. Okay, the pipe is leaking, the skylight's leaking. All of this plywood is completely shot now. So let's go over here to a section where it's not affected by the skylights at all. And the first thing that I see, which you could probably see already, is I see a lot of nails. I see a lot of nails because the nails, believe it or not, are in the shingle the right way. But the guy that put the shingles on applicated the shingles poorly. The shingles themselves are overlapping, but they're sitting on the nail line. That's the nail line that they're sitting on, where the nails are supposed to be. So there's the nails in it, but this line right here, you see this? This is the design in the shingle right here. Okay, so that design carries. It goes here, down, over, back up again, over. This is the design. So this is where the shingle sits on. Okay, this top of that shingle that's cut out like that, okay, it's called a dragon's tooth. I don't know why they called it that, but that's what they call it. Elk Roofing started that a long time ago, and now GAF owns Elk, so we call it the dragon's tooth. Now, that's where the shingles are supposed to end up. They're supposed to end up on this line. And if they were on that line, those nails would be covered. But if you look around, they're everywhere. I could see all the nails nailed, driven into all these shingles. That's completely horrible. Okay, every one of those nails are going to start to leak. As those nails rot out and that shingle shrinks, because all shingles shrink, you know, it's asphalt. So it kind of cures. So when it cures, it shrinks. That's why when you look at roofs, sometimes the lines are real thick on them. That means that the roof is old. See, even right now, when these were installed, they were butted up against each other tight. And you see that there's a space between them now? That's because that's how much they shrink. So if this nail is getting wet, and then that shrinks around that nail, now there's a big hole that's drawing all the water. So if you go in your attic space, you're going to see all of these nails are going to be dripping water, not only from leaking, but from moisture and frost are going to start transferring through that nail and leaking into your attic. So this roof needs to be replaced, okay? It wasn't applicated correctly to begin with, which is the reason why it didn't last. But on top of that, this is the second layer, which means that the age of this second layer compared to the age of the original roof, the moisture barrier that's underneath it, which is the 15-pound felt paper that it was initially installed with, is completely past its time, past its shot. So I'm walking up here on this plywood. It's all completely soft. I'm going to recommend to you to rip off all of this roofing and all of this plywood and put a whole entire roof system back on this house properly, because everything is compromised. Okay, I'm walking in the front now, and it's soft underneath my feet, and it's soft with 2 layers of roofing on it. So that's another thing to think about, is that if I have 2 layers of asphalt on it and it's soft, most of it is from weight. But when you walk on it and it's soft with 2 layers after all this time and you think that it's weight, it's really not. It's that once these 2 layers are gone, you probably are going to go through this plywood. And if not, it's going to be so weak when you tear this shingle off, you're going to tell me you don't want it on your house anyway. So from years of walking on roofs, I'm telling you now, once you tear off this 2 layers of roofing, the plywood underneath it's going to be garbage. The houses over here, they were built with 3/8 plywood. The code is 1/2-inch plywood now. So if I tear this off and the plywood was still good, you still got 3/8 plywood underneath here, but it's not going to be good. I could feel it under my feet. I know the moisture barrier is gone. I know that it was installed incorrectly, and you have problems with breathing most of all, because as I told you when I first spoke with you, most important thing is the ventilation, okay? And you have none. I don't see any vents on this roof at all. The lower vent, the lower roof, the upper roof, no vents. The only vents that you have are the gable vents on the sides, and they're not nearly enough to cause a vacuum through that attic that you need in order to prolong the life of the underlayments and prolong the life of the roofing. Keep all the humidity out of there and keep all the stagnant air from building up. Another thing is this chimney flashing. It's tin. It's old tin, it's been tarred up. That's going to come out of there. We're going to cut brand new lead flashing into that chimney. You'll let me know about the satellite dish. I'm going to put a ventilation system in here that's going to work, which we're going to figure out later. I want to see if you have enough ventilation coming through your soffits. And if you do, I'll put a ridge vent on here. If I go up in your attic space and I think that it's going to be insufficient, I'm going to ask you to put a fan over here, especially a fan with a humidistat and a thermostat that'll let you control the amount of humidity and the amount of hot air in your attic. So this is the best course of action in any attic space if you ask me, but we're going to see how this determines once I get up in there, and I'm going to have a look at it. Vent pipe flange gets replaced there. Another piece that I put on that is called a Capmaster sleeve. I will sleeve that. They also make a pipe flange called, the Ultimate Pipe Flange Boot, which is covered under the warranty, and that'll last a lifetime as well. I'll show you that later too. The skylight will be replaced. Most likely it's going to be replaced with a 30 by 30 copper flash drop-in unit as is now. Down on the lower, we will replace the roof system and put, whatever ventilation that we see fit in this area too. Garage there, so if it's wide open inside, we could probably get away with just a ridge vent on there. If it's closed up in any way, I want to make sure that you were breathing through any kind of soffits, which I don't think that you have a soffit here, but you do in the front. So we're going to see how the calculation works out as to what type of ventilation we'll put there also. and we'll outfit you for a new roof system on this house. Okay, hope I didn't bore you too much, and you enjoyed your video tutorial of your roof.